Buhari's government is surrounded by terrorists, Ondo cleric. Leader of awaiting the second coming of Christ ministry, Adewale Giwa, has said that there can be no progress in Nigeria's security architecture unless President Buhari identifies some terrorists in his administration. The clergyman who addressed members of his congregation on the state of the nation in Akure on Sunday said Buhari's government was surrounded by terrorists. According to him, this is responsible for the inability of the APC to make headway in tackling terrorism. He said, please pray to God to expose terrorists in this government. They dress like politicians, act like politicians, talk like politicians, but at the corner of their rooms, they are terrorists. They have kept us in the dark for a long time, but God is exposing them. Have you seen where darkness drives away the darkness? No, impossible. Okay? When you appoint a thief to manage affairs of a nation, then the result you get is negative. No wonder everything about this government is negative. Must appoints Fulanis in the key positions of a country over 200 million citizens with different ethnic groups. We can't continue this way. We are not fools. If you like, pray and fast from now till eternity. Nothing can be changed unless we call a spade a spade. You are praying for a heart full of hate and injustice. How do you want God to answer such prayers? No, because God looks at the heart. According to 1 Samuel 16:17, you better preach. The greatest enemies we have are those who are the corridors of power. They have everything within them to make the people laugh again, but have chosen to make us cry. Incidentally, Communications Minister Insa Pantami has been under fire since clips of some of his lectures surfaced over 10 years later, some of which showed he was sympathetic towards extremist sects like Al-Qaeda and Taliban. Pantami recently renounced some of his old comments following public criticism and calls for his resignation, saying some of the comments I made some years ago are generating controversies now were based on my understanding of religious issues at the time. Yeah, I still think it's very dangerous. Issa Pantami, that's a whole different case. Well, it's not a whole different case. It's actually much related. But I think as much as we all reacted on Twitter, we knew. I guess anything good that would come out of this is that 2023, if he tries to go for any position, we will know and we will not vote. So yeah, I think that's just what it is. Somebody says every government surrounded by terrorists is the president that will not allow them to overthrow his government. Wait, every government surrounded by terrorists, the president is the president that will not allow them overthrow the government. We say more than this when, okay, people, right. Permit me to say that he's also a terrorist. A whole retired military officer cannot fight for insecurity. What else can he tackle in Nigeria? Alarming. We all see northern supported Pantami, Buhari and APC government knowing that Pantami is Boko Haram and terrorist land kidnappers. Okay, he showed support and sympathy towards Al-Qaeda, and I mean, yes, they're terrorist groups, but then if you're using Boko Haram, I think you change the dynamic of the conversation. Somebody says his government is not only surrounded with terrorists but ruled by the terrorists. Terrorists have taken over the dead government. 60 years of independence, well, in air quotes, still no 24 hours electricity, no freedom, no national airline, no drinkable water, peace and unity, unemployment everywhere, no good road, no security, no citizenship payment, no good salary, healthcare. You're still shouting PDP and APC instead of Yoruba Nation. You better think well. Good morning. Yep, that's it. That right there, it encapsulates everything that we're talking about. And I think that in a way we sort of got lost in our independence, which obviously is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but not necessarily planning, okay, fine, after independence, what is the next line of action? However, it is still very suspicious how you have parties that will sign to an agreement and you can't just break an agreement, because it's very suspicious how, okay, fine, if they'd planned that Nigeria would be this, why would it be that 6 years after independence, very short time after independence, there's a whole Biafran war? That means from independence, Biafra has been asking to leave, and we need to know the basis in which we got independence. What if we're meant to get independence and then move our separate ways? What if that was the plan? No one is saying anything, and we're asking these questions and no one is saying anything. So again, nothing is happening. Things are getting very worse, and it is what it is. Somebody says attacks against Boko Haram is against the north equals Buhari, the chief terrorist himself. All right. If the fact virus they created has spread everywhere, I would have prayed for them to continue till Jesus comes, but I'm sure he is still on the throne. I don't know. We need to work. There's so much we need to do. Someone says by implication it is a terrorist government. Again, if you're surrounded by terrorists, guilty by association, would you not think that that would reflect in some way, somehow, in how that the government is run? Because that's the influence around them. If they're surrounded by terrorists, surrounded in terms of influences, in the government. So, safe to assume, because again, I think that the lack of proactivity, I mean, it's been how many years? More than 10 years. Almost like 12 years since Boko Haram has been harassing Nigerians, and in that time, Nigeria has not had a major win. Isn't that alarming? But no one is saying anything. Someone says, a government of injustice, corruption, and wickedness. Buhari is a gross darkness. Which of the Buhari is he talking about? Is it the one rotting shallow in the grave in Saudi Arabia? All right. That's a new one. Someone says, well, right from the beginning, that was the orientation they had to kill. Is not their problem or a sin, and they will tell people it's a religion of peace. Do they really know the definition of peace? Well, they're extremists who are falsely representing a religion. Unfortunately, we fall for it, and that reflects in our actions. Somebody says, some people from some part of some country have terrorism in their blood. Their comment, their action, reply to messages, and comments clearly show they are not peaceful. Who know should know. Again, yeah. If we have people who supported Buhari for a second term, if we had pro-Buhari protesters in London, again, in Nigeria, it's a country where we're so abnormal that, you know what, the abnormal sometimes in a way becomes a reality when no one questions it, which is a huge problem. And it's not surprising that people will go out of the norm to support something that is not right. Put what you think in the comment section below, and do not forget to like and subscribe.